Hello, welcome to the Blessed Lord channel. It's another take on My View News. And on this topic, I want to talk about is from the Independent UK, and it is titled Obama Signs Law to Bring Electricity to 50 Million People in Africa. And, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm demonizing that, but I am in a way. Because, don't get me wrong, I'm all about people getting what they need everywhere in the world. But it's also important to note that in this country, the government says we're in a recovery, but we're actually in a full-on recession. More people are being laid off. The economy is dwindling down. Commodities are up and down. The stock markets are even more up and down. And there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Americans in tent cities, basically, living all across the country because they lost their homes, whether it was their fault or not, or from layoffs, etc., and just being hard to get work, And when I see stuff like this, it does make me want to take offense, and I kind of get upset about it because you know why are we always so quick to help everyone else in the world and giving handouts and giving away money that we don't even have to different countries when there's still so much that needs to be done in our own country, you know? And I just look at this as an analogy as well. Like, look how willing our president is to help out other countries more than helping out his own people in America. And I think that also shows to a great length to where his loyalties lies more in the world community than it is in the community of the United States of America. And, it just saddens me because, why aren't we doing more to make sure everyone in America has a roof over their head, electricity in their homes, food in their pantries, etc.? And I'm not talking about handouts. I'm not necessarily talking about welfare mentality. I'm just talking about, how are we supposed to be the great shining bastion of freedom and speech and all these liberties when they're eroding daily in our own society, and our own politicians and our own president is more willing to send money, i.e., to places like Iran and other places, and when that money should be spent on truly, looking for real alternative energy sources, truly helping the infrastructure, i.e., the roads, the telephone pole systems, and etc. Our electrical grid system is so old and backwater, it's not funny. Um, you know, what about like in communities? What is it, Flint, Michigan? I think it is, where they have like the lead poisoned water supplies and etc. And I saw an article where it said everything east of the Mississippi is basically contaminated as well. So why aren't we using monies to help all of that out? Why aren't we using our own monies and governmental resources to stop the methane leak happening in California? Why aren't we holding the EPA accountable for poisoning the river systems when they messed up on that mine thing where it released all those toxic materials into the river systems out in the Midwest down south? I mean, it's just numerous things one after the next. But yet we have a government that rather focus on demonizing its own citizens, embracing radical Islam and other radical doctrines, letting refugees come into this country by the thousands when we're turning our own American citizens into refugees in their own country. And to me, that's just absurd and mind boggling, but it is a sign of the times, and it will continue to get worse, and there's no way around it. But I just wish more Americans would wake up to the illusion that this country is what it was when it's not, and where it's going and what it's going to become, you know, and it does sadden me. It really does. I wish that things could change for a positive, but I don't see that in the books, and I'm not trying to be grim. I'm just being realistic and working with what I see around me and the news that is presented to us as we get it, you know. And once again, I just like to point out that in my opinion, this shows how backwards our administration is from the president all the way down to the legislative and executive branches on it seems like they do more to hinder Americans than they do to rebuild and repair Americans and make us the greatest nation that we were, that we probably will never be again. You know, we continue to outsource all of our jobs and wonder why the unemployment rate keeps going up. We keep giving money to other countries that we don't have and wonder why every year that the government has to ask Congress to raise the debt ceiling. I mean, it's absurd. If regular Americans handled their own lives and households in the manner that the government handles all of us, then all of those Americans, including myself, if we worked as the government works, we would not have a house, we would not have any money in our bank accounts, and we would be on the streets because there is no fiscal responsibility within the federal government. You know, I am not trying to uh, call against the government on any kind of measure like the Oregon junk and all that other mess because that's absurd. But what I am calling is for people to be better informed and be more reasonable in their rational thinking and seeing things for what they are instead of what the mainstream media reports it to be. Please don't trust everything you see in the news, even from my own mouth. I would much rather people do their own due diligence and research and find out truths for what they are in their own research to see it for what it is. That is part of wisdom and discernment. Amen. And I just wanted to point this out. It's one of many things that the government keeps doing wrong that just seems to me totally backwards, you know. And I know I'm not the only one in this thinking, and it's so shameful with all the money that we keep sending everywhere else. There's no reason for anyone to be homeless. There's no reason for the veterans to not be getting the care that they deserve. There's no reasons for 3 to 5,000, veteran backlog in the VA system as example. There's no reason. Why do we even have an EPA if they won't uphold the environment for the people, but uphold and make new lies and standards for the level of i.e. radiation or toxic materials allowed in the environment? It seems to me that they're always upholding the liberties and freedoms for the corporate masses and conglomerates than they are for the people in this country. When will the federal government start respecting its people? That's all I'm trying to get across to you because it's not going to happen. It will keep getting more subversive, more Orwellian in nature, more 1984 like in its nature, and we are on the verge of a police state going public. This country has been a police state for a very long time. It's just not been televised fully, if you will. But it's quickly turning into as such, like i.e. certain places being called no free speech zones, no gun zones, etc. It's just crazy to me how we as Americans keep letting our rights erode and not willing to raise our voices. And also, with that said, though, what much can we do? Because when we do raise our voices, we are made to look crazy. A few years ago, I used to try to go through the system, sending letters to all my congressmen and representatives, etc. And sometimes I would get a response back like, "Oh, we agree with you. We'll try to do this and this." And a lot of times I wouldn't get nothing. And even the ones that would send me back a letter saying they agree with me, it was all lies because the next time a resolution or a House bill came through that was totally opposite of what they said their viewpoints were, these same people would vote for the same measures that they said they wouldn't. And I just wish the American people would realize that the two-party system has always been broken and is a true division and illusion to keep the people asleep at the wheel, thinking they have a choice in who they truly vote. We have no choice on who we vote for. It is electoral votes that make and pick people. It is the lobbyists and the corporations that raise up and bring down candidates. I'm just saying. I just wish that more Americans would realize this, you know, and I really wish that more states would really try to fight the government to recognize their states' rights. Truly. So many states have tried to use their states' rights in the past and been told if they did this that they'd be a no-fly zone. If they did this, that they wouldn't get money for transportation, for repairing roads and such. In my opinion, that's blackmail. You know, but like I said, most people won't get this, and they'll see things like this and praise it, like, "Oh yeah, we're helping other people in the world." Well, what about helping our own fellow man, women, and children in this country? What happened to that? Why can't we fix what's wrong at home first and take care of our people in the homeland? And after we get to a place where everyone is taken care of, I see no problem with helping out people around the world. But I truly believe if we're going to correct something, it starts at home. If your home is not on a good foundation, how can you build a great foundation for someone else when you don't have a foundation for your own self in your own household? I'm just saying. That's my take on that. Be it what it will. Thank you guys for tuning in, and God bless you all. May y'all have a wonderful day. Bye bye.